Hey Sherlocks, I really need your help here. So, take out your magnifying glasses and join me on this detective chase.
Yeah.
Look at this image. What's wrong here? These guys seem to be playing tennis, but they're using a tiny football. Now how about these people? One of them is from the future. Can you figure out who it is? Be very attentive. Right, it's this guy. He's got a smartphone in his pocket. This looks like a regular picnic in the park, but one of these people is a time traveler. Who is it? It's the guy with a USB port in his arm. A sailor has a piece of fabric that is 16 feet long. He cuts 2 feet of this fabric per day. How many days will he need to cut the whole cloth? Your first answer might have been 8 days, but in fact, the sailor will only need 7 days. The last remaining piece of fabric will be 2 feet long, and the sailor won't need to cut it. Adam's car has broken down right in the middle of a deserted forest road. But the worst thing? It's winter. Snowdrifts are huge, and the wind is freezing cold. Adam has to get to the nearest town, and fast. But if he follows the first path, he'll have to deal with hungry wolves. The second one goes through an area inhabited by bears. And if he takes the third road, he'll have to cross a river covered with thin ice. Which is the safest way? Adam should sneak through the bear's territory. These animals sleep in winter. Look at this picture. Which cage, in your opinion, is the safest? It's the last one. Even though a scorpion sting is painful, it's rarely life-threatening. The next tricky brain teaser for you. Can you figure out who has stolen her computer? It's definitely the girl on the right. Look at the strange shape her hoodie has taken. One of these girls is a wanted criminal. But which one? It's the one with dark hair. She has the same mole as the girl in the photo. Now there is something terribly wrong in this image. Can you figure out what it is? Look at that snowdrift near the cactus on the right. It's a desert. What is a snowdrift doing there? Look at these people and try to figure out who will divorce soon. Most likely, it will be the couple on the right. Have you noticed that the woman has secretly given a note with her phone number to the bartender? After a natural disaster, there was a blackout in Sam's town. Some criminals used darkness to kidnap the guy for ransom. The building where he was kept had 3 doors. Sam could use one of them to escape. But the first door hid a trap that would crush anyone as soon as they entered. Behind the second door, there were chainsaws that could cut anything into pieces in no time. The flesh-eating acid was bubbling behind the third door. Which door should Sam choose? Chainsaws can't harm the guy because there's no electricity in the town, remember? Liza was a millionaire's daughter. She was fed up with her father trying to control her life, so she decided to run away from home. She took some money and the most discreet car she could find in the garage and left. The girl knew her father would send his people to bring her back. That's why she never stayed in one hotel for more than one night. One day, she found herself in a small town. It was getting dark, and she had no choice but to stop at the first hotel she saw. The receptionist said her room number was 710 and offered to show her where it was. Liza immediately grabbed her bag, ran out of the hotel, jumped in the car, and sped away. Why? The first digit of a hotel room number usually means the floor it's on. Room 710 is supposed to be on the 7th floor. But the hotel has only 2 floors. This must be a trap. A tourist who didn't speak English came up to the ticket counter at a New York subway station. One ticket cost 50 cents, and the man handed the ticketing clerk $1. The woman gave the tourist 2 tickets without even asking how many he needed. How did she know? The tourist gave her 4 quarters, and she immediately realized that if he needed just 1 ticket, he would have just given her 2 quarters. Ice melts when you heat it, but if you heat me, I'll become solid. Can you figure out what I am? I'm an egg. I'm weightless, but you can see me. And if you put me in a water bottle, it will become much lighter. What am I? Right you are. I'm a hole. After having had a fight with a powerful wizard, Louisa found herself trapped in a medieval castle, far away from civilization. She couldn't escape. Jumping out of the window was out of the question because it was too high above the ground. And the only tree growing next to that window wasn't sturdy enough for the girl to use it to climb down. At the same time, in the room where Louisa was locked, there were 3 doors. One of them could lead the girl to freedom, but behind the first door, a fire was raging. The second door held back hundreds of venomous snakes. And behind the third door, there was a maze filled with animal traps. Which door should Louisa choose to escape? Louisa should break off a tree branch, turn it into a torch by lighting it in the first room, and then going through the maze. It won't be dark anymore, and the girl will easily avoid the traps. Now, your task is to crack a few rebus puzzles. Be very attentive and try to think outside the box. What does this mean? Right, that's Big Sister. How about this rebus puzzle? The correct answer is right between the eyes. Look at this one. That's good afternoon. What can you fill if your hands are empty? Well, this is confusing. How can I fill anything if there's nothing in my hands? You'll probably be able to figure it out. And the correct answer is gloves, or mittens if that's what you prefer. Mr. Wilson's company had some financial problems. One day, the man called the police. He said someone had broken into his office.
They stole my safe with all the money I had.
The police officers who came to investigate this case asked the man why he was so sure that there had been several thieves.
Well, my safe was too heavy for one person to carry.
The police instantly realized Mr. Wilson was lying. How? If the safe had been indeed so heavy, it would have left some dents on the carpet, but the floor covering is perfectly smooth. Detective Martin was choosing a diamond ring for his fiancée when a man in a black mask ran into the jewelry store. He made all the visitors lie on the floor and took the most expensive jewelry and money. After that, Detective Martin saw the man get on a red motorbike and speed away. The detective jumped into his car and set off on a chase. Soon, he came to a crossroads. Where should he go now? Suddenly, Martin saw a car coming from the opposite direction. He asked the driver if he'd seen the red bike.
No, I've only seen a silver convertible.
Then, the detective saw a gray car approach from the left. The woman inside said she hadn't seen the red bike, but she had seen a yellow bike and a group of cyclists. And the man who appeared from the right told Detective Martin he'd only noticed a large blue truck. Where is the robber?
Yeah.
The motorbike can only be inside the blue truck.
Kitty entered a bookstore to get some art supplies. At one point, she met an elf and accidentally stepped on his foot. Ow! The elf got very angry and teleported her to his fairy world. He said, "I'm Noah. Welcome to my world, you ill-mannered lady. If you can solve all my riddles, I'll help you find your way home. But if you don't, you'll turn into a tree and stay in this enchanted forest forever." So here comes the first riddle. Jen and Dobby have 4 daughters, and each of the daughters also has a brother. How many people are there in the family? Kitty cracked this riddle easily. What about you? The correct answer is 7. Noah took Kitty to the elf village. There they met Mr. Raspberry. He was very upset. Someone had stolen all berries from his trees. Noah suggested Kitty should find the thief. She questioned 4 suspects. Alice said, "I'm allergic to berries and stay away from them." Mia said that she'd been busy all morning helping her granny pick apples in her garden. Javier confessed that he had been on a secret date. He refused to reveal the name of his girlfriend. And Fiona said, "Are you kidding? I love my manicure too much to spoil it by picking berries." So, who's the thief? Alice. She's eating strawberry ice cream, which means she lied about her allergy. Next, Noah took Kitty for a walk through a magic field. There are 50 cows in this field and 28 chickens. How many didn't? Kitty figured this riddle out immediately. What about you? The correct answer is 30. It's a play on words. 20 cows ate chickens, which means that 30 cows didn't. The guy's next stop was a jewelry store. The local jeweler, Jonas, had just finished making a beautiful diamond necklace. He put it on the window so that everyone could admire his masterpiece and left for lunch. But when he returned, the necklace was gone. Surprise, surprise. Kitty questioned 3 suspects. The jeweler's assistant, David, said, "I was cleaning silver in the next room and didn't hear anyone enter the store." Billy, who owned a chocolate store 1 floor below, said, "I've spent the entire day with my wife. We've been celebrating our 15th anniversary." And Nina, the cleaning lady, said, "I've been cleaning the roof and singing when the crime happened. I didn't hear anything." Who's the thief? Billy. Look at his selfie with his wife. She's wearing the stolen necklace. Okay, but how did he steal it? He has a book, Magic Portals, on the shelf in his store. A postman found an elderly stargazer, Mr. Green, unconscious on the floor in his own house. Kitty questioned the key suspect, Mike. He was the only person who had been seen near Mr. Green's house the day before. Kitty asked him what he had been doing the previous night. Mike replied, "I spent the whole evening helping my friend to build a house. We finished late at night. I was passing by Mr. Green's house on my way home. I looked into the window and saw him lying on the floor. I was shocked and called the police." Kitty inspected the house and told the officer to arrest Mike. Why? Mr. Green was found on the ground floor, but his house doesn't have any ground floor windows, which means Mike couldn't see anything through the window. Noah took Kitty to his garden. He said that elf gardens were a little different compared to human ones. Kitty noticed 5 weird details right away. Can you see them too? It's snowing, but the flowers are blooming. The trees don't cast any shadows, but Kitty does. The rainbow in the sky is upside down. All squirrels are wearing suits. They usually don't do that in human forests. And this butterfly is talking on the phone. Noah invited Kitty for dinner, but they gotta cook it first. He gave Kitty an old recipe and said she could find all the ingredients in the garden. But the recipe is coded with the help of these symbols. Can you help Kitty find all the ingredients? Here comes the first one. It's a potato, and it's hiding over here. Here's the second ingredient. Olives. They're growing over there. What about this puzzle? Any ideas? Cabbage. It's over there. Can you recognize this one? Coconut. Here it is. The next one. Can you crack it? Pineapple. Great job. What about this puzzle? It's a carrot. And since it's an elf's garden, carrots are growing on trees. Can you crack this code? It's a peach, and Kitty can get it over there. Here comes the next ingredient. Any ideas? Pepper. It's over there. And last but not least, can you crack it? Broccoli. Great job. There's only one broccoli head in this garden, and it's hiding over there. After a delicious dinner, Noah offered Kitty to choose a guest room. He gave her 3 options, but only one of them was safe. Option number 1, a soft bed in the attic. Here's the second option, a cozy sofa in the basement. And the third option is a hammock on an open balcony. Unfortunately, mutant mosquitoes arrive every night. Their poison is safe for elves, but not for humans. Which room should Kitty choose? Springs stick out of the first bed. That doesn't look safe. And the sofa is full of bed bugs. Probably not the best company for a sleepover. So Kitty should choose the hammock. She can use this mosquito net to hide from the annoying insects. Next morning, Noah had an appointment. He offered Kitty to meet later in a fancy elf cafe. 4 waiters welcomed her when she arrived there, but one of them was fake. Can you guess who? See, this guy is a criminal. Noah was late, so Kitty ordered breakfast without him and went to the bathroom. The girl left her bag and her wallet on the table. Don't ask me why. When she came back, Noah was sitting at the table. Her food had arrived and her bag was still there, but the money was missing from her wallet. The restaurant security found 3 suspects. Noah said that he had just arrived. He hadn't seen anything suspicious. The waitress said, "I brought the food, but I didn't touch the wallet." The cleaner said that she'd wiped the table but hadn't touched the wallet. The guard found some fingerprints on the wallet, but they all belonged to Kitty. So, who stole the money? The cleaner. She had her gloves on. That's why she didn't leave any fingerprints. Kitty didn't have any elf money, so Noah offered to pay for her meal. But first, she had to crack this riddle. What begins with T, ends with T, and has T in it? Kitty solved this puzzle easily. What about you? The correct answer is a teapot. Kitty found a beautiful diamond tiara on the sink in the ladies' room while she was washing her hands. 3 elves showed up to claim it. Jim said, "This tiara belongs to my mother. We've been passing it on from generation to generation for ages. I noticed that it was gone after visiting the bathroom." Fiona said that she had won this tiara in a beauty contest. She even showed Kitty a picture. Jessica said, "If this tiara is missing one small emerald, then it's mine. I lost the gem at a party last summer." Kitty gave the tiara to Jessica. Why? Well, Jim wouldn't have been allowed in the ladies' room. The stones in Fiona's tiara are blue, not green, and Jessica was the only one who knew about the defect. Kitty entered an elf gift store to get some souvenirs for her family. 3 magic creatures entered the store after her. Everything was fine until, suddenly, Kitty heard a loud scream. She turned around and saw an elf lying face down on the table. She quickly called the police and reported the incident. An officer arrived and asked the other 3 customers what they'd been doing when they heard the scream. The goblin said, "I was picking out postcards from the front display." The mermaid was chasing the perfect souvenir mug. She dropped it when she screamed. The pieces were still on the floor, and the wizard said, "I was checking my horoscope on my phone. I'm a Venus by zodiac, you know. My astrologist promised that today would be the most peaceful day of my life." Yeah, right. Can you help Kitty find the criminal? It's the wizard. Venus isn't an astrological sign. The police arrested the wizard. He got so mad at Kitty that he turned her into a frog. Noah tried all the spells from his books, but nothing helped. So he took Kitty to the jail to beg for the wizard's help. There, Noah saw 2 prisoners. He knew for sure that only one of them would manage to escape. Ooh. The second one, he has a spoon without a handle. He must have used it to make a knife to open the door. The wizard agreed to lift his spell, but he had one condition. The guys had to crack his riddle. How many months of the year have 28 days? Can you help Kitty out? The correct answer is all of them. Noah took Kitty to the local magic store. Kitty asked him what he wanted to buy. Noah answered this way. "It's tall when it's young, and it's short when it's old." What is it? Have you guessed? It's a candle. Noah lit the candle and prepared to send Kitty back to the human world. But he had one last riddle for her. Kitty had to say a secret number code to get home. Here's a hint. The code contains 3 positive numbers. You can either add these numbers or multiply them. The result will be the same. What are these numbers? The correct answer is 1, 2, and 3. Great job!
Kyle's best friend Lily moved to San Francisco some time ago, and he missed her very much, so he decided to prepare a surprise party for her upcoming birthday. Can you tell exactly how many months have passed since she left by looking at his room? Lily went away 36 months ago. How can we figure it out? Take a look at the screen of his laptop. It shows the actual date. It's January 15th, 2022. And now let's take a look at Kyle's photo wall. His last picture with Lily is dated January 15th, 2019. So, Lily moved to another city exactly 36 months or 3 years ago. First of all, Kyle decided to find out what Lily wanted for her birthday. He knew she had a wish list online, but unfortunately, he forgot the password. He looked through his old notes and found this clue. Can you help him remember the correct password? It's 3548. You just need to count the spots on the bodies of these ladybugs. Now, Kyle knew what Lily's dream gift was. She wanted one very rare vintage guitar. Kyle created a secret group chat for all Lily's close friends and offered each of them to invest $100 to buy the guitar together. All 5 friends agreed to send the money to Kyle's bank account. But Kyle received only $400. Carrie said she'd sent her $100 after her morning jog. Josh said that he'd transferred the money right after receiving Kyle's message. Jenny had some problems with her bank app, but she managed to fix it. Mike said that he'd asked his mom to send the $100, and she'd promised to do so immediately. And Amy wasn't a huge fan of banking apps, so she asked her boyfriend to send the money. Who's lying? Carrie. She has a cast on her leg. She couldn't go jogging. Kyle went to a musical instrument store to get the guitar, but he ran into another customer who also wanted to buy that guitar. Kyle said, "It's not fair. I booked this guitar in advance." The customer said, "If you crack my riddle, the guitar is yours. I can be flipped and broken, but I never move. I can be closed and opened, and sometimes removed. I am sealed by hands. What am I?" 2 minutes later, Kyle left the store holding the guitar. What did he answer? It's a deal. Now Kyle had to go to the airport and fly to San Francisco, but his car broke down at a gas station in the middle of nowhere. Kyle wanted to ask somebody at the parking lot to give him a ride because he couldn't afford to be late for his flight. Can you help Kyle pick the right driver? This car has only 3 wheels. It's very unlikely that this driver will take Kyle to the airport safely. There's a creepy clown hiding in the back seat of this car, so it's probably not the best choice too. But the first car looks pretty reliable. The driver turned on terrible music and began to sing along off-key. Kyle asked him to turn the music down as politely as he could. The driver promised to do so, but only if Kyle managed to crack his riddle. And then he began to sing. From the beginning of eternity to the end of time and space, to the beginning of every end, and the end of every place. What am I? Can you help Kyle put an end to this terrible singing? The correct answer is the letter E. Kyle landed in San Francisco and went to get his luggage as fast as he could, but his suitcase was missing. Can you tell what happened after looking at this picture? This old lady is the thief. She covered the suitcase with her scarf, but this is Kyle's luggage. There's this sticker with his name on it. Kyle arrived at the bakery where he'd ordered a birthday cake for Lily. The pastry chef brought him 3 cakes for 3 different Lilies. Can you tell which cake is for Kyle's Lily? The third one. It's the only cake decorated with a cream guitar. Kyle knew that Lily wanted a guitar, so he ordered a matching cake design. After that, Kyle went to the local fancy dress store, but it was closed. The owner left a note on the door. It had a hint. 345129. Can you help Kyle figure out the 10-digit code? It's 444-111199. Kyle literally had to enter 3 4s, 5 1s, and 2 9s. When Kyle entered the store, he didn't see anyone, so he went to the storage room. The owner was lying on the floor unconscious. Kyle called the police right away. Several officers came and questioned the owner's assistant, Stacy. She said, "When I arrived at work, I felt that something was wrong. The door to the storage room was open. I entered and saw my boss unconscious on the floor, so I ran outside to get some help." The officers arrested Stacy right away. Why? She was lying. This type of door shuts automatically. When the owner of the store came to his senses, he was so overwhelmed that he didn't want to give Kyle any costumes. But Kyle needed them desperately, so he offered the owner a deal. "Ask me any riddle. If I guess, I'll get the costumes. If I can't crack it, I'll give you this delicious cake." The owner liked that deal, and that was his riddle. "I go from house to house, a messenger small and tight. When it rains or snows, I sleep outside at night. What am I?" Can you help Kyle save the birthday party? The answer is a road. Kyle picked the costumes and wigs and was ready to go to Lily's house. But first, the guy had to walk through an enchanted park. There were 3 ways. The first path led past several angry lions. A wicked witch who disliked men blocked the second path. And the third path was full of poppies that could put him to sleep immediately. Which way should he choose? The second option is the safest. Kyle can put on one of the wigs and dress and pretend to be a woman to pass by the witch. Kyle and Lily's other friends came earlier to her house to decorate it and prepare the surprise party. Meanwhile, Lily was away having her nails done. Lily's mother told the guys that the girl had left a spare key to the house under the rug on the doorstep. But when the friends arrived, they didn't find any key. Can you figure out where the key is? The dog took it. Take a look at these paw prints. It's pretty clear that the dog was near the rug and moved it. Then, the prints lead to the doghouse, so it's very likely that the key is there. The guys got very hungry while decorating the house, so they decided to share one lasagna among all 12 guests. Mike offered Rick $50 to divide the lasagna into 12 pieces with only 4 cuts. Can you help Rick? Since the lasagna is rectangular, the task is pretty simple. First, he needs to divide it into 3 identical pieces with 2 cuts. Then, make 1 perpendicular cut in the middle. So far, we've got 6 pieces and 1 final cut to make. Now he should make a horizontal cut exactly through the middle of the lasagna. And voila! There are 12 identical pieces that can be shared among 12 guests. Every guest wanted to be the one to bring Lily her cake with candles when she got home. Kyle offered such a deal. The one who's the first to guess my riddle will carry the cake. Everyone agreed. Here's the riddle. White, fat, and fluffy. May even look like a puppy. Seems heavy but is light. Floats about without a worry. But if it turns dark, you have to hurry. What is it? Jenny was the first to answer correctly, so she got the right to carry the birthday cake. What did she say? A cloud. Finally, Lily arrived home. The guys congratulated her and gave her the birthday cake. Lily made a wish and prepared to blow the candles out. But suddenly, Fiona, who was filming the moment, began to scream. Why? What's so creepy here? Take a look at the background. This face is very strange, isn't it? In the middle of the party, Kyle noticed that Lily was gone. That was weird because she left her phone in the kitchen. They searched the entire house. Suddenly, Kyle heard screams coming from the basement. Lily was lying there unconscious. The basement had no windows, and the door was usually locked. Only 3 people had the keys: Lily's boyfriend Fred, Sarah, a cleaning lady, and a chef who worked for Lily's parents. Kyle called an ambulance and locked the door to the basement. He interrogated 3 suspects. The chef said, "I was making dinner when I heard Sarah scream and rushed over. It was dark there, so I turned on the light and saw Sarah and Fred." Sarah said, "I saw Lily's body and screamed." Lily's boyfriend said, "I just got home and found out what happened." Who sounds suspicious and why? Sarah, of course. The cook said he had to turn on the light. So how did Sarah see Lily? Suddenly, Kyle looked at Lily and said, "Oh, get up, Lily. That was just a prank." How did he know? When he first saw the girl, she was lying on her back with her head to the door. And now, she's lying with her feet to the door. It's obvious that she moved while he was interrogating the suspects. No one else could move her because nobody had access to the basement.
Susie writes scary tales, but her own life is rather boring. She lives alone with her cats. How many cats does Susie have? Can you count? That's right, 12. This cat on the shelf is a statuette. Susie had just finished writing her new novel and went to meet with her agent, Harry. Susie found him unconscious in his office. The police questioned 3 suspects. The cleaner said he'd been washing windows in Harry's office all morning. At that time, Harry was feeling perfectly fine. Sarah, another author, had an important business lunch outside the office. And George, also a writer, was writing a new novel at home. Who's lying? The cleaner. If he washed the windows, why are they so dirty? Susie returned home and went to bed. But in the middle of the night, strange sounds woke her up. She saw 3 ghosts in the middle of her bedroom. She noticed that one of the ghosts wasn't real and asked him to stop fooling around. Which ghost is fake? This guy over here. He's not transparent, and he's casting a shadow. The fake ghost took off his mask and costume. As soon as Susie saw his face, she started screaming. Why? Look at this poster on the wall. The guy looks exactly like the character from the cover of one of Susie's novels. "Alex, is that you?" Susie asked. Alex said, "Yes, and I need your help. My world is in danger." Susie was willing to help him, but first, she wanted Alex to crack a riddle. "I'm something people love or hate. I change people's appearances and thoughts. If a person takes care of themselves, I increase. I fool some people. To others, I am a mystery. Some people try to hide me, but I still show. And no matter how hard people try, I never go down. What am I?" Alex answered correctly. Together, they entered a portal that had opened in Susie's mirror. What was his reply? It's age. Susie found herself inside her own scary tale. In front of the main gates leading to Ghost Town, skeletons stopped Susie and Alex. They said, "If you want to enter the town, you'll have to guess our riddle first." Why are skeletons so chill? Susie gave the right answer, and they passed through. What did she say? Because nothing gets under their skin. Susie and Alex walked up to an old castle where a werewolf and a beauty lived. The locals said the girl didn't actually want to live there. The beauty invited Susie and Alex to the castle and said, "My husband will be here soon. You have to hide." They hid in the basement and locked the door. But in the middle of the night, the werewolf managed to open the door and charged at them. How did the werewolf find them? The beauty was the werewolf. Susie and Alex ran away from the werewolf's castle and hid in a small cabin. But it was a trap. Someone locked the door from the outside. The walls of the cabin began to move. The pair had only 30 seconds to choose the right door to escape. The first door led to a tunnel with dangerous snakes and scorpions. There was a tiny wooden elevator behind the second door. And there was hot lava behind the third door. Which door should they choose? The second one. Although the elevator is small, they can still fit in together and escape from the creepy cabin. Susie and Alex got outside and saw a suspicious vampire. But he said, "No worries, I won't bite you if you manage to solve my riddle. I run through hills, I veer around mountains, I leap over rivers and crawl through forests. Step out of your door to find me. What am I?" Alex answered, and the vampire had to let them go. What did he say? I'm a road. The two were walking through a forest and came across two women. Alex whispered into Susie's ear, "Be careful, one of them is a ghost. Which one is it?" This lady over there, she doesn't have a shadow. Susie and Alex continued their crazy quest and met three friends on a beach. One of these guys was a werewolf. Can you guess which one? This guy, look at his footprints. He's turned into a human only recently. Susie and Alex decided to have a picnic on this romantic beach. Suddenly, they heard singing. A mermaid hypnotized them with her beautiful voice and took them to her underwater kingdom. When Susie woke up, she asked the mermaid to let them go. The magical creature answered, "I will let you go if you help me cut this cake into 4 pieces with only 2 cuts." Have you figured out how to do it? First, they should cut the cake in half. Now they need to cut the cake sideways through the middle so that it has 2 layers. Now the cake is divided into 4 pieces with only 2 cuts. The mermaid let them go. As soon as Susie and Alex got to the shore, they saw flames. Ms. Adams's warehouse was on fire. The locals caught 3 suspects. These people were near the warehouse when the fire started, but the police didn't find any matches or a lighter anywhere. Can you help Susie understand who the criminal is? There he is. He used his glasses and the sun's rays to start the fire. Sometime later, Susie and Alex met an elegant princess. She was crying because someone had stolen all her jewelry. She wanted to find the thief immediately. Alex questioned the neighbors. "I was on the 2nd floor when I heard someone break in. They stole all the money from my safe, too," Ms. Skeleton said. Another neighbor, Ms. Monster, said that someone had taken away her priceless antique vase. Susie knew for sure that one of the ladies was lying. After all, she had written this story. But Alex couldn't figure out who the thief was. Can you help him? It was Ms. Skeleton. She said she was on the second floor, but her house is a one-story building. An elf called Derek came up to Susie and asked her for help. He hadn't seen his girlfriend Fiona for 2 weeks. He was afraid that something terrible could have happened to her. Susie and Alex went to the address Derek had given them. Fiona ran a cute magic goods store, but the locals said that she had a secret room for black magic rituals in the basement of her store. Can you see any clues or secret doors? This painting on the wall is hanging straight, but there are scratches on the wall, as if someone had been moving the painting lots of times. Susie and Alex moved the painting too, and this opened a secret door. They went downstairs and found the room. They looked through Fiona's magical tools and notes and found out that she had been working on a recipe for an immortality potion. The last record in her notes was this: "Today I'm gonna test my potion on myself." They saw a suspicious door with a huge lock at the back of the lab. Alex broke the door down, and they saw Fiona sitting on a chair, unconscious. She was holding an empty bottle. What happened there? Did Fiona fail her experiment, or did someone help her? Someone else has definitely been here. If Fiona had simply fainted, she wouldn't have been able to lock the door. Alex brought Fiona to a hospital. He noticed 3 people in the hall, but something seemed a little weird to him. What is it? This doctor's first aid kit has the wrong image on it. Alex confessed to Susie that he liked her and asked her out. They went on a date to a local concert hall. Suddenly, they noticed a pianist lying unconscious on the stage. He was holding a note in his hand. The police immediately questioned the suspects. The conductor said he'd been talking to journalists in his room. The janitor said he'd been cleaning the lobby. And the flutist was practicing for the concert. Who's guilty? The flutist. This note is a rebus riddle that says flute. Susie and Alex went to a magic show. The magician claimed he could read anyone's mind with his fingers. Susie didn't believe him. "I can prove it," the magician said, and asked for 2 volunteers. Susie and a girl called Amy went to the stage and wrote their thoughts on 2 pieces of paper. They rolled them up and put them in the magician's hat. The man took out the first note and said, "Get ready to see some real magic. Someone loves a guy named Mike." And that was exactly what Amy thought. Everybody was shocked and began to applaud. The magician unrolled the first piece of paper and put it aside. Then he pulled the second one out and said, "Susie doesn't believe in my magic." And that was the correct answer too. But Susie knew the magician was cheating. How? The second volunteer was fake. The magician already knew what she had written. That's why he said her phrase first. Then he unfolded Susie's piece of paper, memorized the text, and said it later. The magician was very offended, so he called the show's acrobats to take revenge. The acrobats grabbed Susie and Alex and made them participate in a creepy survival game. Susie and Alex had to walk over a glass bridge. One wrong step, and they'd fall down where the hungry lions were already waiting for them. But if they succeeded in this challenge, Alex would turn into a real person. Half of the glass slabs that made up this bridge were very fragile, but the rest of them were very strong. How could Susie and Alex get to the other side and stay alive? They need to crawl close to the middle of the bridge, along the metal beams. Next morning, Susie woke up in her bedroom. She yelled, "Oh my, it was just a dream." But it wasn't. How can you tell? Alex's shirt is hanging on Susie's chair.